After only 7 starts and 29 plate appearances, it's already clear that Drake Baldwin's a special player. Yes, welcome on in to Braves Today for Monday, April 7th. Your source of news, notes, and updates on your Atlanta Braves. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. You can follow the show on social media, Braves_Today. It's on X. We have a Facebook page and Instagram as well. And you can find all of my written work, bravestoday.com. That's the Braves Today Substack, as this is both a podcast and a newsletter. And the Atlanta Braves did not play baseball yesterday. Sunday's game gets rained out. It's going to be made up later in the year as part of a doubleheader. They'll now play 5 games in 4 days during that series. And so you end up not having Grant Holmes versus Sandy Alcantara. And honestly, Sandy may not even be on the Marlins by the time we face them again. So you look out a little bit there. Also, you can't lose if you don't play. Now the new matchups, you move everybody around a little bit. The new matchups for this week against Philly, Wheeler versus Sale on Tuesday. That's going to be awesome. Holmes moves to Wednesday opposite Taijuan Walker. That would have been the Bryce Elder start, so they're skipping or pushing Bryce Elder, which we're all okay with, I think. And then Thursday, Jesus Luzardo versus Spencer Schwellenbach. Just going to be an awesome series, 3 nights in Truist Park. But they did get a little bit of activity done. The Atlanta Braves brought Sean Murphy back from his rehab assignment, reinstated him to the active roster. And they had to make a decision about a catcher at that time. And what Atlanta did, if you think about how they've been almost paranoid about depth, right? I've talked about this before. Atlanta used 7 different catchers in 2021. Alex Anthopoulos has jokingly referred to it as being scarred by what happened that year. And the Braves have been almost obsessive about depth, carrying extra players in the minors and AAA Gwinnett. I'd argue probably over half of Gwinnett's roster are former major leaguers and not necessarily legitimate prospects, right? But despite that approach, which has been so strong for Atlanta recently, they willingly sacrificed depth by designating Chadwick Tromp for assignment to keep Drake Baldwin. So let's talk about why. Let's talk about why Drake Baldwin is so special, because I think you'll realize by the end of these first 2 segments, it's 20 minutes or so, you'll realize he legitimately is a special player. And the first thing here is you have to understand this small sample size, 7 starts, 29 plate appearances. Statistically, this decision does not make sense if you just go off of the conventional statistics that he has accrued. He's hitting 154 with a 241 on base and a 192 slug. No home runs, a single RBI, a single extra base hit, right? 3 walks to 5 strikeouts. Absolutely not the profile of somebody you willingly give up a good defensive backup in Chadwick Tromp to keep, right? And let's be clear. When you DFA him, Chadwick Tromp has to pass through waivers before you can send him to Gwinnett. It is 99% certain Chadwick Tromp is not going to pass through waivers. Somebody will claim him, and Atlanta will make a cash considerations deal to trade him to that team, right? Like, he's not going to pass through waivers. He is a good defensive catcher. Chris Sale gave him a shout out in the Cy Young acceptance speech. He is exactly what a lot of teams are looking for their backup catcher. So Chadwick Tromp is not going to make it through waivers to go down to Gwinnett. So when that happens, it's going to be Drake Baldwin and Sean Murphy in Atlanta. It's going to be Sandy Leone and Jason DeLay in Gwinnett as 4 potential catchers. Chadwick Tromp, again, claimed off of waivers. And I would expect free agent James McCann, who is currently in AA, and I imagine will soon be moving up to AAA. I honestly expect him to opt out of his deal on May 1st unless one of the two major leaguers gets hurt again and there's a spot to put him on the major league roster. But here's why they kept Drake Baldwin, okay? The conventional statistics, again, are not great. But the inputs, the things that go into generating offense, are not only good, they're better than that. They're not only very good, they're better than that. They're practically elite. Okay? So first, and I know people hate to hear this, the expected statistics are much better than his actual statistics. Okay? So I mentioned he's hitting 154 with a 192 slug. The expected stats is a 237 average, which isn't amazing, and a 533 slug, which, if you're curious, if that was his actual slugging percentage, that would be a top 50 mark in baseball. Fernando Tatis has a 529. It'd be Fernando Tatis, Drake Baldwin, Jose Altuve at 545. I don't think I've ever moved my hand up to refer to Jose Altuve before. Anybody who's on YouTube can enjoy that for a second there. And there's a couple things that he's doing just among the best in the league. 61.9% hard hit rate. 93rd percentile in baseball, okay? 75.1 mile an hour average bat speed. 91st percentile in baseball. So, he is hitting the ball exceptionally hard, and he's doing it a lot. Now, side note here, people get tired of hearing about this, but from a luck perspective, he's actually hitting 154 on hard hit balls. His expected batting average should be 403, right? 249 points different. When I went and pulled it, that's one of the worst marks in all of baseball. The discrepancy between what he's actually hitting on his hard hit balls and what he should be hitting on his hard hit balls. He's also walking above average amount, 10.3%. He's striking out way below average, 17.2%. It's 72nd percentile. And he's not swinging and missing a ton, 17.5%. That's 83rd percentile in baseball and one of the best marks on the entire team as far as whiff rate. The thing that stood out to me when I was looking at the StatCast profile, his whiff rate is really good, right? 17, again, 83rd percentile in baseball. But from a chase perspective, he's barely better than average. 56th percentile, 26.7%. So 1 out of every 4 swings, he's swinging at a ball outside of the zone. And so I wanted to dive a little bit deeper. And I'm like, okay, the StatCast card is good. How is he chasing barely better than an average amount, but he has one of the best whiff rates in baseball? And so for that, I think we have to break back into attack zones. Some of you may remember this. Folks who listen every day, we talked about this when we talked about Michael Harris after Tim Hires got hired. I did it. Tim Hires was brought on to be the new hitting coach. We talked about how Michael Harris struggled to swing at pitches down the heart of the plate. So let's bring up the visual aid again. And those of you on audio, you can find if you Google MLB attack zones and you go to the images tab on Google, it's like there's 5 pop up right there. It's the card with the strike zone that there's purple, there's yellow, there's white, and all of that. But I've went ahead and put it on screen. And this breaks everything down into 4 different areas. The heart of the zone are pitches that are in the center of the plate. They're more than a ball width in from the borders of the strike zone. These are 99.9% strikes unless Angel Hernandez is calling balls and strikes behind the plate, okay? The shadow of the plate, these are pitches that are a ball to a ball and a half width either in or out of the zone, right? So the edges of the strike zone cut through the middle of all of the shadow. These pitches, by definition, are 50-50 balls. The chase, these are balls that are more, pitches that are more than a ball and a half width out of, like, away from the edges of the zone. These are 99.9% called balls. Again, unless Angel Hernandez is behind the plate. And so, obviously, pitchers love chase pitches because if you swing, it's almost always going to be a miss. And then waste pitches are nowhere near the zone. It's a wasted pitch for the pitcher. If you swing, it's the dumbest thing you could ever do for a hitter. And the chase rate is important because Drake Baldwin's chase rate is unique about where he chases. We'll break that down next, right here on Braves Today. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Chinook Seedery. These are absolutely the best sunflower seeds on the market. I'm a huge fan of what Chinook Seedery does. They are some of the largest, some of the best tasting, just a perfect blend, saltiness, sweetness, all of that. They've got 8 flavors. You can buy a sampler pack and try all 8. The original, lemon pepper, jalapeno ranch, hatch chili, smokehouse barbecue, dill pickle, cinnamon toast, parmesan, and pepper. Once you figure out which ones you like, you have the option to either just buy a variety pack. It's a case where you get some of each, or you can customize and build your own pack. Again, ChinookSeedery.com. When you're ready to make that purchase, use promo code BRAVES. You get 10% off your order and free shipping on orders over $40. So again, ChinookSeedery.com, promo code BRAVES. That's ChinookSeedery.com, promo code BRAVES. Lindsay Crosby back with you talking about Drake Baldwin and how he doesn't, and try to break down how his chase works. Because not all chase is created equal. And here's the thing. Hitters on average, about 1 in 4 pitches that they see are going to be in that chase zone. The idea here is the pitcher is trying to get you to expand the zone and swing at an obvious ball, because even if you make contact, it's probably not going to be very good. He sees 1 in 4 pitches there. The average hitter swings at about 22% of the pitches they see in the chase zone. Drake Baldwin swung at 5 of the 34, and he has 1 ground out, 1 line out, 2 foul balls, and a swinging strike. All but one of those swings came on a 2-strike count. So the zone, like, he has to expand the zone because he has 2 strikes. A lot of them were good breaking balls that started off as strikes and took it out of the zone, and he put a swing on it. But his chase is almost entirely confined to the shadow. Okay? So he's seen 67 pitches that are borderline. They could be balls, they could be strikes. It's exactly half of every pitch he's seen has been on the black, right? It could be a ball, it could be a strike, depending on the umpire that day and depending on the angle, like what type of pitch it was. They are literally toss-up pitches. Okay? He's taken 16 of them for balls. He's taken 15 for strikes. So of the takes, 50-50. Like, just about as close as you can get with an odd number to being 50-50. He's fouled 19 of them off, and he's put 12 into play. So 51 total strikes, 15 taken strikes, and 36 swings. So he's chasing a league average amount overall, but almost all of his chase are borderline pitches that could be called strikes. Most hitters in the chase zone, they swing about 50% of the time. So 50% chance of it being a ball or a strike. It's a toss-up on that. It's a toss-up whether or not they swing. Drake Baldwin's swinging 76% of the time when a ball is in the chase. If it's on the edge of the zone, he's swinging more often than not. And when you pull the numbers for the whole league, going into Sunday's game, so not counting what happened on Sunday, 1,978 swings in the chase zone, 1,157 whiffs. So it's a contact rate of 41.5%. Turns out MLB hitters aren't actually that great at hitting pitches in the shadow. They're just not. Again, contact rate of 41%, just working backwards off those two numbers. Drake Baldwin, 86% of the time, he's making contact with those pitches. The pitch is in the shadow. He is making contact with it 86% of the time. His overall contact rate for pitches in the zone is good, right? He is 83.8%, which is above MLB average, which is like 82. But when he chases, he's also making contact at an 80% rate. Because unlike almost every other hitter in baseball, he's only chasing when the pitch is right off the edge of the plate. And he's making good contact. Again, he's one of the league leaders in hard hit rate, 93rd percentile at 61.9%. One of the league leaders in average exit velocity, 93.8%. Remember, 95 is a hard hit ball. His average exit velocity is 93.8%, 87th percentile in baseball. That's why his expected slugging is 533. Again, compared to an actual of 192. He's been incredibly unlucky. I haven't seen a rookie hitter be this comfortable this quickly for the Atlanta Braves in a long time. Like, Drake Baldwin's bat is special. And that is why the Braves chose to keep him in the majors, even though he's not going to get to... The Braves have played 9 games, and he started 7 of them. That's not going to happen with Sean Murphy. It might be closer to even. It might be 5 for Murphy, 4 for Baldwin. And he's going to learn a lot from the veterans up here. He'll learn a lot in the pitcher meetings, right? While they're talking about how to handle opposing hitters and all of that, the game planning meetings, he'll learn a lot in there. He'll learn a lot from working with these veteran catchers. These veteran pitchers, and from Sean Murphy. If you look at his defense, his pop time it's not enough pops to qualify yet on the leaderboards, but it's right there at average, right? Like 50th percentile. His called strikes above average and his framing are both 72nd, 82nd percentile. They're both good. His blocks above average, he is 31st percentile. Sean Murphy's a great blocker. So he's going to learn a lot from Sean Murphy on some of the tips and tricks of blocking and things like that. Now, I want to clarify, Drake Baldwin's not a finished product. There is still a lot he has to do. One, he needs to translate all of these exceptional inputs into actual production, right? Again, these are small sample sizes. Some of this is you can draw some meaningful conclusions from process at this point of the year. You can't draw meaningful conclusions from results at this point in the year for somebody like Drake Baldwin, okay? So the process is very good. The results are not. But if he continues this process, they will be better. Now, again, not a finished product. There's a couple things he can work on a little bit, right? Kind of observations here. One is he's gotten 23 of his pitches in the heart of the zone. You'll remember the heart is more than a ball and a half width inside from the edge of the strike zone. Clear strikes, 99.9% of the time they're called strikes. He's gotten 23 of those. The MLB average is like 26%. He's at 17. Like, pitchers are not throwing him hittable pitches and they just don't want to come in the zone against him. He's hitting 286 on those. He's 2 for 7. So he's not swinging enough. Again, 23 pitches. He's swung at 7 of them. He only has 2 hits. But there's, again, a couple things to work on. One, jumping on those. He's gotten 6 pitches that were middle. Just as much of a gift pitch as you could possibly get. Attack zone 5 is the specific attack zone for a pitch that is grooved down the middle of the plate. It is an absolute mistake. They did not mean to throw it there, and you should destroy it. He's seen 6 of those. He's only swung twice. One of them was a ground out to short, to Mookie Betts. And one of them was that ball late against the Padres where he rocketed it back up the middle. It went off the reliever's foot and bounced to Luis Ariz at first base, who touched the base and tagged him out. So he's not being aggressive enough at just those absolute gift meatball cookie pitches. Okay? And part of it may just be he's not used to seeing them. Again, pitchers come in the zone against him less than MLB average. The other thing that he needs to improve on from an offensive perspective is his launch angles. I talked about this when we talked about Drake Baldwin before the season. Last year in Gwinnett, 50% of his batted balls were ground balls. Okay, he's trying to bring that up a little bit. He's improved. He's at 47.6% ground balls. Slightly above MLB average, which is like low 40s, but not anything egregious, right? Not a worry there. But he's hitting 43% of his batted balls in the air as fly balls and 9.5% as line drives. MLB average this season on those is like 24%, like 23.8% fly ball, 24.7% line drive. So MLB hitters hit about an even amount of fly balls to line drives. He is hitting 4 fly balls for every 1 line drive. And the reason this matters, fly balls have a batting average this year so far of 261. Line drives have a batting average this year of 632. It is much more productive to hit a line drive than to hit a fly ball. It is over twice as likely to fall for a hit as a ground ball. As a fly ball will. Actually, for a ground ball, to a ground ball is a 245 batting average. And if you're curious, a pop-up, he has not popped a ball up yet. A pop-up is 031 batting average. And to his credit, he has been focusing on hitting fly balls. He's not gotten underneath anything and popped it up yet. He has no pop-ups on the year. But he's not hitting enough line drives, and he's hitting too many fly balls right now if you're trying to translate inputs into production. Okay? But honestly, it makes perfect sense to keep him up. He's a special bat. And I've had people ask me, do you put Drake Baldwin in left field? Do you put Brian De La Cruz in? Do you put Baldwin in left? Or Marcell Ozuna in left? And Drake Baldwin at DH, just to have both those bats in the lineup. I don't know what Atlanta's going to do. I don't know if they're going to try him in the outfield. I would think they would not do that. He's literally never played the outfield in a professional game. But I'd be curious to see this week against the Phillies what they try to do to get Drake Baldwin in the game. We talked about Drake Baldwin's special bat. Jarred Kelenic's bat has not been special so far this year. We'll break that down next, right here on Braves Today. Final segment of Braves Today, Lindsay Crosby talking about the decision to keep Drake Baldwin. We love that. And the decision and what Jarred Kelenic's done right now, we don't love that. Because, I've already talked about, this was probably his last chance to stick as an everyday player. Right? When Ronald Acuna Jr. came back, you had Jurickson Profar, you had Ronald Acuna Jr., you had Michael Harris, 3 everyday players. Profar won't be back until second half of the season. And we don't know what he's going to look like when he first gets back because he's missing a bunch of time. He can't be with the team. He can't do he can't be in the facility. He can't do anything with Atlanta. He has to just work out on his own and stay in shape. But after the weekend, after Saturday's loss, Jarred Kelenic is batting 4 for 26, so it's a 154 average. His only extra base hit is a line drive homer, okay? No walks, 12 strikeouts. When he gets a hard hit ball, it works, right? 4 hard hit balls, 3 have fallen for hits. Small sample size, obviously, but when he hits the ball hard, it's working. When he doesn't hit the ball hard, it's not working. He's seen 100 pitches this year. He's put 14 into play. He's batting 100 on non-hard hit balls. So he swings out of his shoes, and if he makes contact, it probably falls. But most of the time, he's not making contact, and when he does, it's not falling, and he's striking out a lot. The StatCast card is not pretty. And it's not like he's been the victim of bad luck. He's batting 154. He has a 269 slug. His expected batting average? 153. His expected slug, 262. Alex Verdugo got moved to AAA as part of his ramp up from signing late in spring. I would absolutely argue that now that you've added Stuart Fairchild on the roster, right? You traded for him, cash considerations. He's a defensive guy, speedy defensive guy. He had a triple on Saturday. And then they couldn't bring him in from third. And it was good hitters, too. Couldn't bring him. Michael Harris, Ozzie Albies, like Marcell Ozuna, like they couldn't bring him in. Just disappointing. Pathetic, really. But you have Stuart Fairchild and Eli White on the roster right now. Both good defensive outfielders. The advantage Jarred Kelenic had over Brian De La Cruz was his defense. Like, the reason that you were comfortable with him as your fourth outfielder is he can play all three defensive positions. He can play all three positions. He has a strong arm. And so the thought process was, like, back when you were like, okay, Ronald's back May 2nd. You have Jurickson Profar in left. You have Michael Harris in center and Acuna. Kelenic's your fourth outfielder because he can play any of those positions from a defensive perspective. So can Stuart Fairchild. So can Eli White. And so right now, the only thing that Jarred Kelenic is good at, that defense, is redundant. And you have a little while still, obviously. Like, you have some time. But at this point, it is increasingly likely that when Ronald Acuna Jr. comes back, the guy that gets sent to AAA is not going to be Brian De La Cruz. It's going to be Jarred Kelenic. He needs to play every day, and he needs to figure out. He needs to figure it out, right? There's no sugarcoating this. As disappointing as this team's offense has been this season, and it's been plenty disappointing. Even in that 10-0 win on Friday night, it was disappointing because after the first couple innings, they really struggled with runners in scoring position. But as disappointing as that offense has been, he's practically a zero on offense. They're batting him behind Orlando Arcia, if that tells you anything. The lineup that came out on Sunday had Orlando Arcia batting 8th, Jarred Kelenic batting 9th. Now, some of that is to break up the lefties, right? Drake Baldwin's batting 7th and he's a lefty. So some of that's to break up the lefties. But some of that is because Jarred Kelenic has not been good. And he's in that unfortunate position of this is his first year of arbitration. He's a Super 2 player. So he has 3 more years of arbitration after this. There's a difference in paying Jarred Kelenic $2.3 million to be your fourth outfielder this year, right? They signed Adam Duvall last year for a similar salary, right? You'll pay $2 million for a fourth outfielder. But that's going to go up. It may not go up much based on what he's doing now, but it is going to go up. And at what point is Atlanta going to say 3.5 is too much, 4.5 is too much, 5 is too much, as that continues to go up? He's got options. And right now, from where I sit, he has less than a month of playing, not every day. I don't think he's going to play every day at this point. I think you will run Fairchild out there a little bit. They started Fairchild one day last week. But I do think he is going to play almost every day. And he's going to have to start hitting. And more importantly, he's going to have to put balls in play. He can't strike out at a 40-something% rate and expect to be in the majors a month from now. I still don't think it was a bad decision to make the trades, right? You took on some dead salary, but other than David Fletcher, who's still stuck in Double-A, has given up on pitching, by the way. He was atrocious, almost as many walks as strikeouts, super high ERA. He's given up the knuckleball thing, by the way. Other than David Fletcher, whose deal is up after this season, all that money's already done. That money's already, like, the hay is already in the barn, right? You can't get any of that money back. But it was also everything except for Fletcher's salary this year, everything was in 2024. So you have Jarred Kelenic now, and all he costs you really is his salary and then what David Fletcher's making this year. I don't hate the decision to go out and grab him and see if you could make it work. But obviously, it hasn't worked yet, and it doesn't really feel like it's going to. This has been Braves Today for Monday, April 7th. You're listening on audio. Do us a favor, leave us a 5-star review. Apple, Spotify, whatever Google's using for their podcast now, that's fine. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when we drop that next episode. Also, when we drop press conference footage, the Braves are a lot better about making those videos available to the media when they're at home versus on the road. So we had Spencer Schwellenbach from after his start on Friday night. We posted that on Saturday to the YouTube channel. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we do things like that. Also, maybe a bonus episode or two coming your way. So just be on the watch for that. Until next time, this has been Braves Today.